Have you ever wondered what the ultimate goal of the church is? In Matthew 24:14, Jesus' answer is clear. The gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and only then the end will come. So how are we doing in accomplishing this task? To answer that, it's important to know what Jesus meant by the word nations. Even though a lot of the time we'll use the word nation and country interchangeably, Jesus did not use them this way. The original Greek word used for nation was ethnos, meaning ethno-linguistic people groups, or groups with their own culture and language. Today there are about 200 countries in the world, but there are almost 10,000 people groups, 4,000 of which are considered unreached by the gospel. With this in mind, let's classify the 7 billion people on earth today into 3 groups, starting with the Christians. Around 33% of the world's population would identify as Christian. Let's call this segment of the population World C. It's important to note that not all people in World C are born-again believers. They only identify themselves as Christian. More importantly, because World C has had so much access to the gospel, there are virtually no unreached people groups in this segment. Next, there's a 38% of the world that has access to the gospel, but has chosen not to follow Jesus. They have churches nearby, Bibles in their language, friends or co-workers who are potentially Christian, or access to other Christian resources. As a result, there are very few unreached people groups among this segment of the population. We'll call this group World B. That leaves 29% of the world, just over 1 out of every 4 people on earth, whom not only have never heard of Jesus, they have no chance of hearing the good news of Jesus Christ. They have practically no access to the gospel, no churches, no Bibles, and few believers nearby, giving them almost no chance to hear about Jesus. Practically all the unreached people groups in the world can be found in this segment of the population. We will call this 29% World A. Now let's focus on finances. Annually, all those Christians in World C earn a total of $42 trillion, but only give $700 billion to Christian causes each year. These causes include everything from Christian nonprofits to churches to youth programs. If you do the math, that means that less than 2% of Christian income is being given to Christ's causes. Out of that $700 billion given to Christian causes, only $45 billion is given to missions specifically, a mere 6%. In other words, for every $100 a Christian makes, only 12 cents is given to missions. But the bigger problem is when we look at how these funds are allocated. Out of the $45 billion given to missions, $39 billion goes to World C every year. That means that 87% of the money going to missions is being spent to reach people that have already been reached. $5.4 billion, or 12%, goes to World B every year, those that have adequate access to the gospel but have rejected it. That leaves only 1% of all missions money going to World A, the unreached people groups. To put that into perspective, annually Americans spend more money on Halloween costumes for their pets than get sent to unreached people groups. That's why Global Commission Partners works exclusively among unreached people groups and is why we believe that they are the priority of the church. Will you help us?